Lisa Christensen here with maydreamrose.com. I'm showing another tutorial for you. This is a stamp from Blue Night Stamps. I'm loving this stamp. It screams Christmas to me because I love the idea of the lamppost and the wreath, and it just reminds me of country Christmas, and I love it. It also reminds me of Narnia, but what I love about it is that the wreath is separate. So even if you don't want it to be a Christmas stamp, you don't have to. You could use just this and use it as like a thinking of you, sympathy card, lots of uses for this. And so I just love the idea of this lamppost and wreath. So let me show you how I made this. I started with Strathmore mixed media paper, which you know is my favorite, and this is what I stamped it on. And then I stamped the verse from Isaiah from Blue Night Stamps, um, the Love Was Born sentiment set, and that's also from Blue Night Stamps. And so let's get started. I am excited. We're sharing, I'm going to use hopefully just 3 colors, mostly primary. I'm not using a red though. But we're going to do green. Oops, and I'm wrong. We got to use brown too. But I start with light to dark. However, with that in mind, I'm going to start on the background first, and I'm using this the navy color. These are all from Dana Weekly's Scribble sticks. I love them. I love the color. So the hardest part that I find using the the hardest part about this technique is that we're creating a sky with a light, and that's always tricky. So we have to be really careful not to make the blue into the yellow, because then of course blue and yellow will make green. So we really have to be careful of that. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just going to go in and dabbing blue. I'm going to let the blue mix. I really like the organic feel of watercolor, and so I don't want to lose that from just like painting. So I'm dabbing it in, and then I'm just adding water to kind of blend it all in, and then that way you get this really beautiful sky effect, and you're not worried about getting a whole bunch of dark pigment where the sentiment is. So if we start with what I would consider the hard part first, then we'll know if we messed up, then we didn't finish. We didn't. We don't have a whole lot of time invested in it, right? That's my goal. Hopefully that makes sense. Makes sense to me. I would rather get the hard part done first and then know if it's going to work or not, right? It's kind of like painting. When you paint a portrait or draw a portrait, you do your eyes first, because if the eyes don't work, then you know you're not going to get a good portrait. Same sort of thing here. Okay, so all I did was dab water and then use clean water to blend it a little bit. And now this is not going to be the first wash. Like, this is only the first wash. We're going to do a couple more washes of the blue. But there's the start. Okay, so now I'm going to let that dry. While I let that dry, I'm going to go in with my green, evergreen. And it's going to be pretty bright. I don't necessarily want it super bright, but for now it'll be fine. See how bright that is? That is like not the tone I want. But we can change that with a little bit of brown and a little bit of blue to get that watercolor effect. And again, I'm just dabbing in it. I'm not, my paper's already kind of wet. Now I don't want a whole lot of green up here because I want to make it brown, but I am going to add a little bit here. And you might still think, wow, that is some bright green. And you are absolutely right. It is a very bright green. But I want to add the green right now. I'm not, and I do want to pay attention to that line because I don't really want green in the brown fence post. What I love about watercolor is you gotta break rules. I'm sorry. That's just the, I've always been like, well, I don't like it that way, so I'm gonna do it my way. And so watercolor really fits me because I get to do it my way, the way I want to do it, not the way other people say you should do it. I suppose because I'm an artist and I like to break rules. I don't know, but it's all good. And I'm just dabbing in. I'm not really, what I'm looking for is I want just value in places. So I want darker value in some places and lighter values in others, knowing that I'm going to add some blue and some brown to like tone it down a little bit. And wherever I think it needs more green, I just go back and add more. But I'm liking that. And I'm okay. There's the green mixing in with the blue. I like that. I don't think that looks bad. All right, so I'm going to go in with the brown, with the blue. The blue is a little bit more muted, so I might not have to add the brown like I think. No, I'm not going to have to like the blue the way it is. And the blue is going to mix with the green in a more organic way, so it's not going to look too, it'll just look like it's meant to be that way. You might think, oh my gosh, I would never use these colors, but wait until I put the yellow on and then you'll see it. The card is going to have a couple layers of color. Like, and as you can tell, I'm literally just dropping in the blue. I'm not paying attention to where. I mean, I am because I don't want it on the fence poster on the brown. But other than that, I'm just doing my thing. And there, I can't, the best way to describe this is I'm just dotting in color wherever I think the blue and green needs to kind of mix. But I'm not painting, I'm dotting, I'm doing what they call a stipple effect, and drawing is I'm just painting by dots. Okay, that looks good to me. I could add a little more blue up here, which I think I'm going to. Okay, I'm good now. All right, so as we let this dry, I'm going to go in with the fence post. I try to not make these tutorials super long, but I think this one might be a trickier one to keep under 10 minutes. But you can always fast forward through my coloring, and I'm okay with that. So you're still getting the idea of how it's done. There. Now the green is going to mix in with the brown a little bit. I'm okay with that because it's a watercolored effect. And I just noticed that the faller part is over the fence post. So even good stampers like me make mistakes, but you still get the idea. And I don't think you don't have to have this big, large sentiment. I was hoping that it would work. Now, if it was me, because I love the illustrators that have done Blue Night stamps because they really help you color anywhere where there's more ink, more you just want to add a darker like tint to it, value to it, and that will add to creating that depth. Now, if I wanted to, when it dries, I'll probably go back and add one more layer, but for now, I'm good. All right. I think this is dry enough to add the yellow. So let's start the yellow. So I'm using lemon from the Scribble sticks. You can also use orange. I'm starting with yellow. I don't know if we'll need orange. My other two, I hadn't needed orange. So I'm fairly certain that I don't need it. And I just remembered that I didn't add the brown up there. So I'll do that in a little bit. Okay. But really, the cool thing about watercolor is you just want to watch out where your light source is. And if you can remember where your light source is, that is half the battle. So right there is my light source. Now I'm just going to bleed in this yellow all around. There we go. Okay. Now that I didn't, because there's like this little bit of space right in between the yellow and the blue that is not really yellow. And that's what you want. You just want it to, you want that like blending gap. Okay. There, I like that. Now I'm going to add, I don't want this part to be so stark white, so I'm going to blend that a little bit too. Okay, so now that's done. Now you could call this done, and I think that would look really, really pretty. However, I wanted to add a little bit more to it. So I'm going to go back to where my sky was, and I'm going to pay very careful attention to where I'm putting my blue. We're just suggesting this guy. We don't really have to paint this guy. We just have to suggest that it's dark, right? And so with this one, I am painting down, but I'm using my strokes because I think it's going to be darker here than anywhere else. I'm going to add okay. Now I'm just going to kind of move all this pigment around. What I don't want is hard lines. So as soon as I get a hard line, I'm letting it go. That way it still looks like a dark sky, but we have this beautiful light shining. And there you go. I am walking away from it. That is good. I don't think there's anything else I can do to make that work. If you wanted to, you could go back again and make this blue even darker. And you could do that probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 more times if you really wanted to spend the time on it. But I don't know if I necessarily have the time for that. So then once it's dried, and you could heat set it, you know, I like to take, I just took some peeled paint that worked well for this wreath, and I stamped the wreath on here. It's, if I stamp it now when it's wet, it's gonna just bleed all over and make a big mess. So wait till it to completely dry and then just stamp it right there. Or you could even stamp it right there if you wanted to, but I kind of like it right there. And then you have the finished card. So anyways, I hope you give this card a try. It's really fun. If you saw my other tutorial, my manger tutorial, away in a manger tutorial, you could add some shimmer to the light. I like this like natural country feel, so I don't really plan on putting any of that shimmer stuff on it, but you totally could, especially if you have someone that likes lampposts and likes glitter. I don't know why that wouldn't look bad. Um, that would look really pretty. And I've thought about that, but I really just like the organic feel of the lamppost. So that's what I'm doing. Anyways, I could play around with watercolor all the time, but there is the lamppost, and that's part of the fun with watercolor is playing around with it. So anyways, enjoy making your Christmas cards. I always love making Christmas cards. It makes me happy. I know the people who get it is also very happy. And remember that everything you paint dries a little bit lighter, so add that extra color for that depth and you'll be happy with it. And there's the finished result. So enjoy. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you learn how to paint light with dark. It's just layering the darker part and keeping the light away from the from the blue, because if you mix yellow with purple, even you get a muddy color. So you don't want to do that. You just have to be careful where your light source is. Good. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your crafting season.